Here is the breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump's administration confirmed U.S. forces seized a sanctioned oil tanker near Venezuela, triggering strong condemnation from Caracas, capital of Venezuela, and a sharp increase in regional tensions. It will create major diplomatic escalation in that particular region. Let me welcome all of you from around the world and from inside the country at SATV's international live broadcasting from SATV's Dhaka studio. My name is Rashid Kanchon. I will be your host. I have a very serious guest today. He is Air Commodore Ishfaq Elahi Chaudhry, very fine-tuned international affairs specialist and conflict and war issues. And we have from Washington DC, SATV's geopolitical correspondent, former ambassador, peace negotiator and a seasoned journalist, Norman Flatt Barnes. Sir, let me begin from you. You heard in the breaking news that U.S. forces seized Venezuela's oil tanker. It will create more escalation between these two countries going on. Please open your basket to share the latest breaking news you are watching from Washington and news trending in the global media, sir.
Greetings. Good morning from Washington, D.C. Today, the topic is oil tankers. We have apparently mentioned by the president that the United States has seized a sanctioned oil tanker leaving Venezuela, believed to be en route to Iran to provide oil needed for the purchase and the continuation of terrorist activities by Iran and by the country of Venezuela. That is what has been said by the Trump administration. Yesterday, the U.S. Coast Guard and law enforcement, with the aid of the military, landed on a oil tanker full of oil leaving Venezuela and seized it. This is causing a lot of questions, creating more questions than answer. Why an oil tanker? The word out there is that we are supposed to be looking for drugs, trafficking, narco-terrorism. So what is the correlation between the oil tankers and the current regime in Venezuela? Well, it appears from the government that they are stating that the funding for the current regime to continue is based on the sale of oil. And this oil is being sold to Iran and other places that supposedly have close ties with terrorism, drug trafficking, all these negative things. So that is what's going on right now. The question, someone asked the question, so Mr. President, what are you going to do with all this oil that you seize? He said, well, I guess we keep it. So that brings up more questions because that response is kind of wishy-washy, lukewarm, and people are now questioning who's actually making these decisions. Apparently, it's not the president. And we are going from one major incident to another, and it appears that the administration is not in control of what's happening. We are talking with Ukraine, trying to get that situation going on. We're trying to deal with issues in Gaza, and at the same time, the defense budget has been approved. They got another $901 billion has been approved, but the tax situation is coming up in this country. Taxation, health issues are coming up, and we have a increase in the interest rate. The interest rate has been reduced by a fraction of the point. The president thinks it should be more. He's in the process of replacing the chairman. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but there's no consistent leadership being viewed. So questions are now coming up about who's actually pulling the punches, making these decisions. And apparently, the president is not in full control or full knowledge or what is actually going on in the country. So right now we're looking for a change in Congress coming up midterm, and we've seen a demonstration of this with Miami, with the mayor, and other cities and other states are dealing. Virginia and New Jersey, as example.
All right, sir. I have received an important question from our regular, respectable audience. She's herself a lawyer. She said, what were the potential motives behind the decision by Mr. Donald Trump's administration to seize a sanctioned oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela? And this question for Norman. The audience is Shoma Ghosh Monica. Would you please face the question from Shoma Ghosh Monica?
Yes, that is the question is exactly that. What is the intent? No one really knows the intent. The outward appearance is that basically this is another attempt to disravel the current regime, cut the funding, put pressure on their the current government in Venezuela to basically concede and leave and allow the United States to come in. And also this oil-rich country is looking for relief. The people, they are not happy. They are not happy with the current person there. They are not happy with how things are run. And the United States is looking for an opportunity. The president mentioned that he wants to have a land strike dealing with the drug areas. That is going to cause a lot of problems, a lot of changes. We may have a situation just like we had in Baghdad, post-Baghdad, if there's a regime change right now. So it's a lot of moving parts to this. And the actual question is, who is making these decisions? We don't know because there's no consistent pattern. Things are arbitrary, very arbitrary.
All right, sir. Here is an expert who has a long service career in Bangladesh Air Force. Very glorious character, sir. I want to know your impression on this particular. You are hearing the breaking news and you are hearing the comments from Norman. What would be your take, sir, on this?
Norman has exactly what I was thinking. He has already referred regime change. Now we are from all the intents and the moves last few months we have been watching. He has already imposed no-fly zone and no aircraft. I've been watching on the flight radar. There is no aircraft going. International traffic is closed. A country sitting on the world's largest oil reserve is totally disconnected from the world outside. And he said that anyone who goes or comes in out will be considered a drug trafficker, and they are going to shoot it down. So nobody is going there. And at this time, I mean, we are watching what we used to call gunboat diplomacy. It surprises me that oil tanker is going, and they say that it's going to Iran. Why should an oil tanker be going to Iran? Iran itself is sitting on the pile of oil and gas.
Yes.
And they are one of the major exporters. So this is probably an excuse just to get hold of this and strangle the Venezuelan administration. And as Norman said, there is a huge shortage. The country is suffering. Almost many people are starving, you see, because there is no economic activities. Their main income was this export of oil, and they can't do it. So ultimately there will be a rebellion or whatever it is, upheaval, and then the US Marine will be lending. That's what looks like the plan is, and they are going to get a government of their own desire and subservient government, and ultimately the control of all the, I think it's about 300 billion barrels of oil in their reserve, which is the highest reserve in the world. So as Norman said, that on one side he is trying for peace in the Gaza between Israel and the Palestinians. Then he is also going around trying to solve the Ukrainian problem, and at one stage he said he might be claiming for a Nobel Prize, a Nobel Prize for peace. But now in Venezuela it is clearly an act of aggression, and just because Venezuela happens to be in their sphere of dominance and nobody else is interfering, he is just having a free ride. And just like the way in the past we have seen regime change in Panama, for example, I think that was during the Reagan administration. Now we are,
And the person was Ariel Noriega.
They just went and picked him up. Maybe some Marines will go and land in Caracas and will pick up the Venezuelan president, and they will you see. Now this is something to the rest of the world. These aggressive acts of it reminds them of the imperialist past, which United States was not. United States had a huge heritage of as we say democratic principles and human rights and all, but those now it appears that those are more of the book. Whereas if you see China today, I mean, they are very peaceful country. I mean, they are projecting themselves as a peaceful country, and but quietly building up the military strength, building up the economic strength, and it will not be very far when China will become the #1 economy in the world, and they are closing the gap very fast. So the United States, if they want to remain #1, they have to look into this consistent foreign and military policies you see in the world over.
All right, sir. Very well versed perspective from a very experienced person. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome SATV's international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Panthu in the studio. Sir, let us know what are the top issues today, breaking news today you are observing.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kanchan, and of course, warm welcome to Mr. Ishfaq Ilahi Chaudhary in the studio, and I hope that Norman Flood Barnes is on Zoom. But the issues that I will bring out today, of course, there are so many languages of protest. One of the news that include that Iceland announced it will boycott the 2026 Eurovision Song Contest, joining Spain and Ireland, Slovenia and the Netherlands in protest against allowing Israel's inclusion. So this is another way of avoiding or not allowing Israel to participate in worldwide activities. And of course, the US Federal Reserve slashed its benchmark federal funds rate by 25 basis points between 3.5% and 3.75% target range. So this is the last that I know from the economic activity regarding the US Federal Reserve. And of course, if you look at Spain, once again, a nation that is very vocal regarding not only Ukraine and Russia, but also regarding Israel and Gaza. Spain's Prime Minister said that the devastation in Gaza and those who are responsible for it must be held to justice, while hosting Palestinian President Mahmoud al-Abbas for an official visit to Madrid.
All right, sir. Here is another breakthrough, ladies and gentlemen. Donald J. Trump administration threatens sanctions on International Criminal Court ICC, and this is the first precedent that created this precedent to threat the ICC. The US under Trump has threatened new sanctions unless the ICC pledges not to prosecute Trump or other senior US officials. The move seems tied to concerns over possible investigations into US military actions, especially in Afghanistan, and also relates the probes into alleged war crimes by Israeli leaders. Benjamin Netanyahu, along with his generals and cabinet members over the Gaza conflict. Control panel, please bring Norman Flood Barnes on the screen. I have a tough question for him. Sir, what does the US threat to sanction ICC officials mean for international justice and accountability? I know this is a very, very hard question for you.
Yes, it is a very difficult question, and unfortunately, I do not have a intelligent answer to that. The only thing I can say is that it is a appearance of a desperate outlash from our administration regarding dealing with these accusations. Right now, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's been a lot of things that is not what we call non-lawful, unlawful, hasn't been contested yet, but will be contested. As you notice, the pattern is that we take action and the courts will make a decision, and the decision usually turns out you should have not done that. You can't do it again, and they basically say, okay, and move on to the next incident. But the pattern and the traits and the narrative is still the same. We are going to continue to do this ruckshore type of action on issues, particularly dealing with international affairs, that we feel is necessary, and let the chips fall as they may. So basically, the word is basically pro-American, America first attitude is being utilized in dealing with international actions. That starts the conversation, but it does not address the core issues, which is still has to be addressed at the local, regional, and nation level. It cannot be manufactured and fixed from an outside extension, meaning the West and the United States cannot tell a country or region what is right, what is wrong, and how to do things, and take their own action. There's a consequence to that. The globe and the world is basically watching, and the issue is basically is not that we know these things are not correct, in some cases unlawful, but where is the enforcement of this? Who will be strong enough, brave enough to challenge, go the big bad United States or Russia or China or whoever it may be? Who has the ability? Who has the nerve? Who has the sense of fairness to basically to tell these countries that you cannot do this? You must follow the rules, but the rules are constantly changing. So we are in a situation right now. They are making it up as they go, and basically, when they are caught, they're basically saying, "Okay, I stopped. I don't do it again," and move on to the next situation, and then we start another situation. So basically, they're not taking the international courts or the international groups or the United Nations or anybody who want to bring this up seriously, because they know no one can stop them, and that's how it's going to be until the people decide enough is enough.
All right, a few days back, I used to ask a question to my very respectable and distinguished panelist, who gonna stop Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, new question, Norman is telling, who gonna stop this man, Donald J. Trump, and still 3 years more he will be in power, he will be in White House. Sir, I want to ask you a question. Could this pressure from Donald Trump to ICC set a precedent undermining international jurisdiction, international courts, international norms?
Of course it can, because you see, as Norman said, that United States is in total, at least the administration is in total disregard and sort of undermining the ICCs. So they are naturally their enforcement. You see, basically they don't have a force to enforce anything. It is the common will of the people of the world.
Right.
When they pass a judgment, for example, in our Rohingya issues also, we went there and we got a judgment in our favor. But they don't have a they don't have any force to implement it. The only force is the moral force of the of justice. But if the United States tries to undermine their capabilities and undermine them, then naturally they will lose that last resort also, and it will be ineffective. And in many issues, international crimes, war crimes, crime against humanity will go unpunished and unanswered. much to the advantage of the perpetrators. So people will not get justice. It's a sad state of affairs, I would say, but this is what we are faced with.
Sir, let me do a broader question to our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Panto. I am very confident he can face this tough question and broader question. Sir, you have seen in last 11 months he has undermined United Nations. He has undermined COP, climate. He has undermined other organizations like NATO agreement. He has undermined the Middle East sovereignty. Now he is undermining the ICC, International Criminal Court. What message he is giving to the world? He is the only man in this planet that will rule the entire planet.
Thank you so much for the question. I want to understand, like, it does not make sense. Leader of United States, US President Donald Trump is moving toward sanctioning the International Criminal Court. That does not make sense. That just says that he would support criminals to a certain extent to allow this to happen. You asked me, who is going to stop this man? First of all, just a few days from now, we are going to see immigrant-led mayor for the city of New York, Zoran Mamdani. He initially wanted to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu when he visited the White House, or at least that was the feeling, the vibe of the people. Right now, we see a move away from the US administration in general. It has a move away from the various UN sub agencies, the UNESCO as well as the World Food Programme. And coming back to the issue of the International Criminal Court, there are instances where even in the Philippines, a leader from the Philippines was tried at this very court. So I do not see why Benjamin Netanyahu won't be tried. There are cases against him from this very establishment regarding genocidal acts that they have committed in Gaza. So once again, Donald Trump did say earlier on that he'll be helping these alleged criminal cases against Benjamin Netanyahu, but he never mentioned taking on head-to-head the International Criminal Court. So once again, this is a very weird time in geopolitics. This is, as you said, very unprecedented. It is very so. And we understand that the FIFA World Cup is supposed to be happening next year, but I don't think it's going to be received well because of the decisions and decision making of such a leader like Donald J. Trump.
Sir, production is offering me to go for a break, but this is the time to ask a question to Norman. It is a back-to-back question. Does the US have legitimate sovereignty concerns, or is this purely a political shield for officials? And back-to-back question is, how might this action by Donald J. Trump affect the US standing among its allies and its global moral authority, Sir Norman?
Yes, basically it brings question credibility issues right now. Basically, it gives the appearance to the world that I can do we can do anything we want to do, and no one is going to say anything about it. So it's a bully situation. Basically, it's my way or no way. You don't follow me, I'm going to put sanctions against you. I'm going to do tariffs against you. I'm going to do all these terrible things that will make your life unbearable. So it's to your best interest is to follow what I say. That is not being received very well, both domestically and internationally. Alternatives are popping up. And as we notice, China is playing a very strategical game of chess. They are basically sitting back, watching and waiting and say, hey, we are the calm ones. We have an alternative. You don't have to take this. We have a solution that is better than what you're dealing with right now. Why are you dealing with that? I have a solution. Come over here and join us, and we will make things better for you. So it's a very dangerous process right now. It's being looked at, and people are looking at options. Do we have to take this? We don't like it. We see where it's going. It's all selfish. It has nothing to do with the betterment of the people. It's more to the betterment of your own self-interest, and your self-interest is guiding our country down the road.
All right, sir. I have received a question from one of the famous news personality of the country, Mrs. Chamili Monir. I will ask this question to Shamsul Pantho because he will face this question very well. It is regarding the social media ban in Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back after a short commercial break.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিংয়ের জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 রবার্টস লেন, সিঙ্গাপুর 218302। ফোন 0065 629 24900। বাংলাদেশ থেকে সিঙ্গাপুরে পণ্য বুকিংয়ের জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন ঢাকা সহ দেশের যে কোনো 80টি শাখা কেন্দ্রে। এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, আপনার সেবা সব সময়।
Welcome, Grand Palace Hotel, Dhaka. A majestic lobby blending timeless elegance with modern design.
As per plan, I said I will take the question from Chamili Monir to Shamsul Pantho. Sir, question is very relevant with the yesterday's top breaking news. What arguments support the decision to ban children under 16 from social media as recently implemented in Australia? And Australian Prime Minister Albanese has delivered his speech and he put the logics in the parliament.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kanchan, for passing me this question. Of course, thanking our viewers who are actively taking part in this conversation and allowing us to analyze all their questions. Well, first off, the Prime Minister for Australia, Anthony Albanese, thinks that banning social media, which include TikTok, Facebook, X, and all of the other social media handles for those under the age of 16, is a safeguard for their nation. I want to re-emphasize the fact that there is chance of exploitation of minors in this case, into cyberbullying to some extent, the communication. Of course, to some implication, I will also disagree. See, when these minors of 16 years of age, when they are going to come to voting age, which is of course after 18, the age of 18, they are going to have some kind of resentment towards the administration that had put this ban in the first place. With the world that are going on, we understand that it's Australia, a first world nation, that has taken such a drastic step. And when we look at the generation that has gone down, I am a millennial, and those who belong to the Gen Z and afterwards, they're very dependent on the fact that they must have a screen in front of them at most times. Children of this age do not actively seek a library where they will read a book, they will waste their time, and they will understand how the old ways were pertained to. Certainly so in my era, there was no chat GPT. We had to go research through books, through scholarly articles, the old method. But as the new generation progresses, they are of course looking forward to more convenience. So once again, this Australian government ban on the regarding social media does have some kind of importance. It is a safeguard for the minors of their country, and of course it will stop the most cyberbullying and exploitation of children to a certain degree.
Absolutely, sir. I will take two questions from Janatul Firdaus, but I want to include our very respected Air Commodore Ishfaq Elahi.
Opinion on this, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the Australian government has set a pioneering role in this. This was a long overdue thing. You see, I am connected with education, and I know how this social media is actually destroying the innovative power of the young kids. As he said, Panto said, they don't read books, they don't go to the library, and that's, you see, the whole communication, they are losing the art of communication even. Two friends sitting side by side, and they are on the mobile for hours, but they don't talk to each other. How are you? How are you doing? You see, so this whole thing has led to their addiction, and I am very happy to see that not only they have imposed, Australia has banned this, they have also threatened all these companies if they don't stop this child contents from their they are going to impose heavy fine. And I would say that for all the countries across the world, this could be a time where we should get together and we should devise. I mean, nobody is saying that progress of science and things cannot progress, but behind every progress there is a negative aspect. Okay, so this social media, the technology that we were now confronted with, we didn't have 20 years back, we didn't have 30 years back, but people did get their education. So the impacts that it is having, it's time that other countries also, including Bangladesh, we must devise our policies in such a way, this Australia can become an example for all these countries in the developed world, in the third world too.
I want to give you one more example. In Paris, I have gone to a restaurant for fine dining. They have written, if you want to enter this restaurant, you have to deposit your phone in the gate.
Okay.
And we do not have Wi-Fi, please talk to each other. Sir, I want to share one story with you. I have gone to a fine dining in Dhaka. One old gentleman, he has invited his entire family, 27 members, for a fine dine. And he took 2 hours to accomplish the order because everybody is busy with the mobile phones in that dining room.
Social disaster.
Yes, sir. So the knowledgeable person or the philosophers of this world are advising to the young generation, be tech savvy, don't be the slave of the technology. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a question. I felt important, this question regarding climate change. I want to do this question to Yar Commodore Ishfaq Elahi Chaudhary. He is very vocal on this subject. Sir, why are the vulnerable communities disproportionately affected when extreme weather events like this, intensified monsoon floods occur? One of our respected viewer, Janatul Firdaus, is asking this question. She also added, what steps should governments and communities take to reduce future devastation from climate-linked floods? I think you can face very well.
This is really the very serious problem in countries, especially underdeveloped ones, and especially in Bangladesh. And I think in another occasion you were saying that there has been, whereas there has been a growth of population in Bangladesh, there has been a net loss of populations in our coastal areas. People from places like Bagherhat, Satkhira and all, they are migrating where? Migrating to cities. They are losing their agricultural land, they are losing their livelihood. Those who are staying back are facing various problems with their health conditions and all, especially skin disease. So, but you see, all our policy makers, you see, we got a lot of lip service we give, but actually the policies are made in Dhaka or like that any other capitals. The poor and the vulnerables are always forgotten. Okay, and as you said just few minutes back, we talked about Donald Trump. If the leading power in the world disagrees and he says these are all hoax, the global climate change or global warming are all hoax, and he starts revitalizing these oil fields which were regenerating the oil fields which were lying unused. Now where will we go? You see, and this is a serious problem for the whole world, and if those who think that they can escape because they are rich and powerful will actually suffer when it comes to them.
Exactly,
and
sir.
it might be too late.
Let me get on. Norman Flatburn is from Washington. Norman is there. Norman, sir, I just want to know that the richest countries are producing carbon, polluting the air, making the planet difficult to live for the people like us living in high risk areas. But there was an agreement in COP17, I can remember it took place in Cancun, Mexico. I was a field reporter that time. I have seen and witnessed that agreement that carbon emission countries will provide money, compensation to country like Bangladesh, but still no progress. What would be your answer as a citizen of one of the carbon emission country like United States?
We have this discussion about climate control, how it affecting the underserved communities of the world, is basically, there's no excuse for it. We are talking about artificial intelligence, AI. We have satellites. We have information. We have knowledge. We have the ability to build better, do better, but it's expensive. And the fact is that basically the sources that can do this is not going to do it unless it's in their best benefit of their action. Basically, profit. How can I profit? There's no profit in helping the people who can't contribute to the end result. What is the return on my investment? Why should I go into an impoverished area and basically build them up and keep them safe, whatever? Well, humanly, you're supposed to do that. We're supposed to do it. Morally, you're supposed to do that. But there's no profit in it. So basically what you're seeing, most of these issues are what I call man-made disaster. I taught a course in the UAE on this thing. Most of the issues we deal with now is of man-made content. Basically, we create situation. Why would we go back and rebuild on an area we know is flooded? Change that, create the situation, create a situation where people can whatever. But what we do is one flood, one earthquake, one whatever, we go back and we rebuild and we put up the same structure that was going to hoping to get a different result. That is madness. And we keep doing this over and over again. People are losing their lives, whatever. And we say, oh, it's such a bad thing, such a bad thing. No, it's a man-made thing.
All right,
so we are creating our own destiny.
Norman Flatburn, be cautious on extreme cold. -13 today in Washington today. Take your care, sir. We will see you on Sunday once again with new panelists, new topics, new breaking news. I wish you a very, very good day today, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I want to come to Bangladesh. As you have a Air Force background, I have something to discuss and ask you regarding the Eurofighter Typhoon, what just happened and what it means. This is a subject for you. Sir, my news is 9 to 10 December 2025, the Bangladesh Air Force BAF signed a letter of intent LOI with Italy's Leonardo Eurofighter Consortium to begin talks to procure Eurofighter Typhoon multi-role combat aircraft. My very easy question, why Bangladesh requires Eurofighter?
Bangladesh requires a modern fighter aircraft, okay? The one that we have today, the backbone, those are the F-7s, a Chinese copy of the Soviet era MiG-21. And the MiG-21, they first flew in 1956, a design of that area. But it is definitely one of the world's most most produced, most used by most countries in the world, one of the most successful. But everything has a, life of. Yeah. Now the one that Bangladesh Air Force is using at this time is not very old. These are the latest model of F-7s that we have are comparable in overall performance to the early version of the F-16. You can say they can match. But the basic airframe is very old, and Chinese are no longer producing F-7s. The assembly line is gone. Now they are producing J-10. They are and the later versions. Now we are stuck with these aircraft, and naturally we must, even if we want to buy something similar, we can't, because nobody is producing it. So whatever is there in the
Market.
market, we have to go for it. And I do not know, as far as the performance is concerned, Eurofighter is one of the top rated aircraft in the world, and it has also got, it has been flying since 1980s, late 80s, okay, and it was shown in it was initially on the design stage, flew, but over the years it has been upgraded. Although the name is Typhoon, the Typhoon today will not be the same as Typhoon 20 years back. Now we needed an aircraft which can be our frontline aircraft. So you might even say, why should we have? But then the question is, we have an Air Force, we have an Army, and we have a Navy, and all of them are being upgraded. The tanks that we drive today are not the T-55 or T-60 that we got in the 70s. These are the upgraded versions. The ships that we are getting today are much more developed with missile boats and missiles and torpedoes, and the submarines we have got, and helicopters we have got, reconnaissance aircraft we have got. Now in the Air Force there has been, because of the three services, Air Force is the most costly venture, because you need huge investment, and the numbers are not many, but the investment is huge. So it becomes sometimes very difficult to digest. I am not sure about the terms and conditions. This is only a letter of intent that they have signed, and I hope over the next few years it matures into a deal.
Right.
And the deal has got, you see what you get in the newspaper, that $10 billion is the cost, but that's not the real issue. You have to have these aircraft, its maintenance, its training, its weapons, all these things, and the infrastructure that you need inside the country. So the total cost, and then the question is how you are paying. Whether are you paying upfront, or you are paying in 5 years or 10 years or things like that. So there are always, you see, there are in the air headquarters, because I was, when the MiG-29 was procured, I was one of the directors. I was director of air defense at that time, and we argued for it, and we saw all parameters and all, and we got this first consignment. Unfortunately, after that, the next consignments did not follow. So right now if you see the world market, you have these Eurofighters, you have this F-35, you have got J-10, you have got I think the next generation is J-20, the Sukhoi Chinese, and even MiG-31, the latest version. So out of these air headquarters must
I'll come with a comparative questions, because so far I talked with some Air Force people. They said that we had more options, Sukhoi, Russian Sukhoi, MiG-31 and Russian missile carrier. Why we have chosen this Leonardo Eurofighter? It has a debate among the Air Force people. But I want to come to you, sir. Yesterday I was talking with you. I found you are very fascinating on this subject, sir. It would be the first Bangladesh's first major procurement of Western-built frontline fighters, and marks a clear diversification from the Bangladesh Air Force's traditional supplies. My question is very flat, sir, to understand that do you really believe Bangladesh should prepare its Air Force with world-class standard?
Thank you so much for the question. And of course, in order for a country to thrive, it must have its national military infrastructure built to that level where it is world-class standard. A news that I was following as I compared yesterday is that Turkey is trying to understand how it's going to get its hands on the most latest F-35 fighter jet. So, and this F-35 is, I believe, very new, and only US and a couple of Western powers are clinging on to this machinery. That is exactly when I was bringing in the matter of Bangladesh trying to procure the Eurofighter Typhoon. Of course, we would want to not have a situation like, if you look at India and Pakistan, as of recent, they had the Rafales gunned down by the Pakistani side. So it did not matter where this Rafale came from, whether it was from France, if not from Europe. But if you look at the issue of Bangladesh, I would agree with Mr. Ishfaq Ilahi Chaudhary here that it is a very expensive thing to implement and to digest for the economy. It is in the millions of dollars, so it is not an easy issue to procure. But once again, we should look forward to the most emerging technologies there is out there, and especially if there was to be some kind of coordination, not only in trade, arms trading, but arms production with Turkey. I think that would be better for not only Bangladesh as well as Turkey's defense industry as well.
Sir, you raised a $1 million question, but I will raise a very simple questions for modern Air Force drones or fighters. I'll ask.
These are because we do not have access to all the information. It will be like he said about Turkey produces some aircraft and drones and other things. Sometimes what you want to have you cannot buy because there are a lot of political strings attached to it. For example, the Pakistan has got F-16s, but they can't use these F-16s against India because there is an end user agreement. You cannot use this weapon against so and so, against so and so, against so and so. And there are, especially with the Americans, these strings are there. So I do not know. They must have had all the studies, and as I said, what are the terms and conditions of payment? For example, when we got the MiG-21, first MiG-21 from Russia in 1974, 73-74, we got the latest from the factory, and the Russians told us, and it's true because we went for training, that the MiG-21s we have given you, we have not given even to the Warsaw Pact countries, and what to speak of India. Because all depends on your relationship. At that time, Bangladesh's relationship.
Right, sir.
But you see, today, even if you want to get an F-35, you will not get it because the United States is not going to sell it. When the United States sold F-15 to Israel and to Saudi Arabia, Israel complained. Then they said that the ones that we are giving you, the F-15 and the one we are giving to Saudi Arabia are not the same.
Right.
You understand? The electronics, the weapons, the
internal systems and all this.
Systems are different.
Yes, sir.
So Bangladesh, also what is.
Sir, I will come back because production is telling me if I do not go to the break, I will be in trouble to discuss the election issues because today is a scheduled day in Bangladesh. Very important, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back to Ishfaq Ilahi Chaudhary. Is very expert on these particulars after a short commercial break.
Experience 5-star comfort in suites and rooms. Sophisticated fine dining restaurant. Crystal clear swimming pool for ultimate relaxation. Modern gym and serene spa for well-being. Perfect venue for corporate events, weddings and parties. Seamless and secured, elegant and eye-catching design. Indulge, relax, discover the first 5-star chain hotels in Bangladesh. Grand Palace Hotel Dhaka, 22 Kakrail, Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Welcome to Grand Club at Mirpur 10 Dhaka. Elegant spa and wellness facility for ladies and gents. Play pool and snooker in international standard billiard zone.
I have received an important question from Ismat Nurjahan Meme regarding the climate change issues, but we are in a national parliament election discussion right this moment. I apologize, Ismat Nurjahan Meme, I cannot take your question today. I have very important things. Public reporting indicates Bangladesh is scheduled for a general election in February 2026 under the interim government formed after the 2024-25 political changes. Interim government led by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus. The election process rules, voter list, caretaker arrangements and the referendum proposals remain politically changed. I don't want to ask you a question. I just want to listen your perspective. Sir.
Bye?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought you were asking him. Well, you know, the train is already moving, so we are in for an election, and the next few months will be very interesting. Already, you know, some there will be lot of changes of parties, you know, and people are designing their own strategy how to get elected. You see, so like Colonel Oli has already, you know, shut down his own party, and lock, stock and barrel he has joined BNP. There will be such alignment, because we have got more than about 150 parties. But we all know right now there are two parties, okay, BNP and Jamaat. There used to be a third one, but that is out of the race now. So there will be people, if they want to get elected, they will. But what you know is very disappointing for me is that we had lot of hopes of a new generation of politicians in Bangladesh. Those who led this revolution in July, just 2 years back. The nation had lot of hopes in them, but I think they haven't been able to organize themselves. And now they are looking for partners. And if they have to look for partners, then what was the fun in all this samskar and all these you know, changes? There will be no changes. You know, people in English there is a saying that old wine in a new bottle, but I think it will be old wine in the old bottle, maybe some level change. There will be no, it's very unfortunate that I do not foresee a major change in the political structure, a major change in our social structure. We may have an upper house which will be more like a decoration piece and added expenses on the state, and basically I am not foreseeing any ideological or social changes.
Yeah, it's very loud and clear, sir. Sir, you are a young generation entrepreneur
No.
and
I am a
journalist.
fading
I'm talking with Shamsul Pantha, our international affairs commentator. You know, I remember one quote from Thomas Jefferson. He said, whenever the people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government. And one more thing I want to add from Mahatma Gandhi, he said, politics without principles is a social crime. I want to ask you, sir, do you think the young generation are interested into politics, or still politics became very old in a new bottle?
I think the second one that you said, very old in a new bottle, should apply here. I want to mention some of the things for our viewers so they are updated. Yesterday, 2 of the advisors had resigned. They are youngsters, Asif Mahmoud Shaji Bhuya and of course Mahfuz Alam. They have resigned from the interim government, and okay, that is all right, given that the Tafsil declaration or the scheduled declaration is set to take place today. In this declaration, we will see who and when and where, what are the details, and who is going to be contesting for the seats. That is of course important to understand what is going on, but in other terms, we also have expatriate voting, or those living abroad who is going to take part in the vote, and also a referendum on the day of the national election as well. So whether or not this turns into a mash of many emotions, if not, it will be whether it will be a peaceful election and everyone gets to participate or not, that is truly a matter of time that we will see. And of course, there is some role of the security forces to maintain the peace and order of all the polling houses during that time. Whether or not there shall be closed circuit camera observation in these polling booths, and how it's going to take place. All of these issues do raise important questions. But once again, coming back to the nationalism aspect of Bangladesh, the parliament has been empty, the cobwebs are growing inside, the spiders are waiting, there are no leaders to state, and it is very sad to call an interim government. We are in a sad state of national governance, and we must elect those who shall represent this 200 million people.
All right, sir. Let us conclude today's conversation, today's discussion. Before that, I want to read out one quote on modern politics, and that is by Noam Chomsky. He says, "Politics is a lucrative business of greedy people, and politics is the ultimate shelter of all criminals." He also added, "You will not find a single criminal or corrupted people in the society who does not belong any political party." Our new generation want a clean politics, new Bangladesh, developed Bangladesh. We'll see you on Sunday.